You should be watching.
Look at my horse is amazing.
Yo, what's good? Long time no speak, people. But getting straight into this thing because there's a lot to cover. Now, for this Demoniacal Fit portion, first thing we have is the coming one, Top Gun. So basically, Trunks from the BoJack movie, and he is now available. So at this point, I'm thinking some second payments, if they haven't already started already. I don't think they have, for 5K toys should be up, and if they're not, then it should be coming soon or in transit because they ship by boat, as well as Hobby Model Store, and we'll get to that in a little bit because I actually recently bought some stuff from there, and I'll just tell you about my experience, and you know, it won't be a whole lot about the experience, but we'll get to that in a separate video. Now, next we have Trump card, the power that even gods fear. So basically, this is their Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. Specifically, it's supposed to be like the same thing as the NYCC Comic-Con exclusive from last year, right? Except, of course, it has more accessories. You see the aura effect, cross arms, you get the charge up blast, get your assortment of faces, and you get the spirit sword. As per usual, I'm expecting this to be a very reasonable price. This is up for pre-order on 5K Toys. If you do care to buy this and you don't want to spend all that extra money for the official release, go ahead and do it. And last but certainly not least, we have the Demoniacal Fit Legendary Berserker Shatter of the Universe. Yo, one thing I love about DF, you know, as much as I would get on them, right? Their naming schemes, I love it. Legendary Berserker Shatter the Universe. I almost bought it because of how fire the name was, you know? And I probably will get it just to do a comparison because I did, well, we'll get to that in another video. But yeah, I'll probably end up getting it anyways just to do the comparison or what have you. And I guess it would be nice to have for the time being at least. But on to the next section. Oh yeah, real quick, the DF Time Vanguard or XENO Goku from Dragon Ball Heroes is in stock on 5K Toys if you're interested. That's all I have on that.
Beast!
Alright, so I completely forgot about this. These are some Vegetas that Beast Deities had announced towards the end of their tenure as Beast Deities before they rebranded, of course. We all know who they were branded to, Anime Mythos if you're not aware. But, yeah, we hadn't heard a peep about these for a while. I forgot about it, to be honest, until somebody hit me up and was like, yo, did you hear anything about those Vegetas? And I was like, oh yeah, those were supposed to drop, weren't they? And so, you know, now that we're here, what 5K Toys is saying is that Beast Deities B13, 14, 15 are releasing in China now. You can expect the US release in about 1.5 months. These are photos from the Chinese social media. Typically, a lot of these photos that you see posted, when we see a figure starting to drop, it's usually from Chinese social media. There goes another picture. This is B14. Now, if you're wondering the difference between this one and this one, this one is supposed to be like a special paint edition where it's like more shading on the figure. This one is just, you know, standard body, not a whole lot of shading going on the figure, but you know, still looks nice. We're gonna look at one more set of pictures. Just gonna swipe through this real quick. Once again, this is more photos, as they're saying, from B13 and 14. Now, which ones is which? And these particular, this looks like the non-shaded version. I don't see any. I'm trying to look closely. Don't see a whole lot of the shaded one, but we just saw the shaded one anyways. But, and of course, we have the dark blue spandex version, which is supposed to be representative of as he appeared in Dragon Ball Super Broly. But, you know, the armor is definitely off, for sure. The armor was not that dark in the movie. Now, I still think the figure looks pretty good, but the armor is definitely inaccurate. But I'll be happy to have it, because I love the dark blue spandex in general. But that's just my personal preference. That's just to give you a quick update, so y'all know what's going on in terms of this particular release, and move on to the next thing. Now this right here, bruh. Now y'all about to hear me get hyped, because when this was revealed, of course this was revealed all the way back on May 12th. There's a reason why this roundup took so long, but I'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about what we see on the screen, right? 5K Toys revealed Lionheart Studio and Demon Eye Studio are making the demons, as they call them. So you have Omega Shenron here, Nova Shenron, and Ice Shenron. Bruh, this is literally something that I could, like, it's like they went into my mind and picked these characters out to make. You can ask my good man Cyrus. I've been fiending for these characters because I was like, nah, I don't know how long. It'll probably be a while before they make these characters. You know, referring to Tamashii, specifically because, one, I can't see them releasing a Mega Shenron before Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Or if they did, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta would not be far behind at all. I definitely see Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta being released first. So I was like, damn, we didn't even get Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta yet. So it's gonna be a minute before we even get like an idea for Omega Shenron to be made. Nova Shenron, the Ice Shenron, they're just more obscure, you know. People care less about them, so I was like, damn. So I'll just have to play the waiting game with those two, because technically those two could both be made, because they Nova Shenron at the very least for Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and we already have a figure for that. Either way, totally hyped for this. Now, just to give y'all a little insight for those that may not know or don't pay attention, because sometimes some of us don't pay attention. Lionheart Studio is also the same studio that's coincidentally re-releasing the Super Saiyan 3 Goku from Kong Studio, what I'm trying to say is this: Lionheart Studio is just another. Lionheart and Evil Eye Studio are just, in my mind, subsections of Beast Deity. They're just using a different name. But Lionheart was in charge of the official, let me say, reissues of the Kong Studio Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. And the reason why I say they're of course they're unofficial because they're third party, but the reason why I say official in the sense of them being connected to Beast Deity or Mythos Anime is because 5K Toys won't post anything. Like, whenever you see just like pictures or character, they put a post like this where it's just a picture of the characters and it says, oh, this character is coming soon. It is most likely Beast Deity. Matter of fact, every time that they've posted a picture like this where whether it was like Suppressed Super Saiyan Broly and they said, oh, this character is coming soon, or whether it was the Vegeta Trunks fusion from Dragon Ball Hero, this character is coming soon, it's safe to assume that it is Beast Deity, Anime Mythos, Kong Studios, whatever you want to call them, whatever you're most comfortable calling them. I just think this is just, like I said, a subsection of that studio, and you know, just covering your tracks by using all these different names that can't really be traced anywhere, you know. But you know, with that being said, definitely super hyped for this. When will this actually drop? We still have some other stuff to drop from this company. You know, we still got other stuff from Anime Mythos to drop. The Super Saiyan 4 Vegetos just went up for pre-order. We still got to get the Goku wave from Anime Mythos. We still got to get the Brolys, the Super Saiyan 4 Broly wave that also includes Super Saiyan 5 Broly. That has to go up for pre-order, and they said that's coming in the summer. And then the Suppressed Super Saiyan Brolys have to go up for pre-order. So, and I think they said that was going up for pre-order in the fall. So it might be a minute before we actually get these, but time will tell the tale. That's all I have on that. On to the next thing.
Black hole sun, won't you come?
Now, what you see on the screen, once again, this kind of blew my mind. Same way that of course, the Shadow Dragons reveal blew my mind. For a couple reasons. One, they were revealed on the same day. So I was like, wait, what? Why is two third parties doing GT reveals on the same day? And that got me thinking, are we in for a major GT release from official, you know? because a lot of these third-party companies will have inside sources and, you know, insight into what official has coming. So sometimes they'll preemptively say, hey, this is coming, to get the people hyped, you know. And I was wondering what that character could be, so just gonna go into theory crafting mode real quick. And really, I got this from, once again, brainstorming with my good man Cyrus, and he was like, a character. I was like, what character could go with Baby as well as the Shadow Dragons? And technically speaking, right, it could be Majub. Now that would be like a super random next release for GT, for the GT line of action figures for SHF, specifically because there's a lot of characters I'm sure people would want before Majub. Now I personally would be hyped if it was Majub, but here's the reasoning. Majub actually has interacted with Baby, albeit it wasn't this form of Baby. He's definitely interacted with the Shadow Dragons for sure. And then on top of that, we have a Fat Boo general release this year. What is it, in like a month or so? Month or two? If it's not already coming out? So it would kind of, like, if you want to look at it that way, it would make sense if you're pairing the figures up. But in all, if this is the second thing, right? Black Hole Toys has revealed some fire stuff. They've shown us in-hand prototypes of some fire stuff. We've seen in-hand prototypes of Future Gohan, Super Saiyan Goku, Ultimate Gohan, but we need some product, you know? We've seen these renders of the next thing, which we're gonna get into, which actually I'm gonna use that as a parlay in a second, but I want to see them actually drop some stuff, because you keep on showing us stuff, but especially when you show it in hand, it's like, damn, you got it in hand, like, what's going on? You feel me? So let's go into the next thing with Black Hole Toys. So right here, what you see on your screen, you're on Hobby Model Store Instagram page, and it's a Majin Vegeta on a more updated mode, 3.0 mode, right? And this, I don't know when it's gonna actually come out, because once again, it's Black Hole Toys, and they've been showing stuff off, but they haven't been releasing a lot of the things that we actually asked for. They'll release something like a special edition Color Goku or something like that, but it's like, alright, it's cool or whatever, but that's not what we're really clamoring for. We want some of those things that we've been waiting for Tamashii to make and they haven't made. This particular Majin Vegeta, see, it comes in 4 variants. One has a darker spandex, one has the more, you know, navy blue spandex. I mean, they both dark in color, but one is darker. Yeah, in both versions you have, you know, the outfit intact and then battle damage. So we'll see what's up with that. Of course, the pale blonde hair is always a vibe. It looks good thus far, but, you know, ultimately, as I always say, we'll see how it's looking in hand. And speaking of having figures in hand, there you go. We're seeing like a physical prototype of the Black Hole Toys Majin Vegetas. Ultimately, though, like I always say, we'll know what's up once it's actually in our hands, because, you know, there's only so much you could tell from a picture besides, you know, like sculpt work and things, and even with that, you may not be able to tell everything, you know. But let's move on to the next thing. Alright, so your eyes do not deceive you of what you see on the screen. You see a woman Goku on the screen. Yes, a woman Goku. It's crazy. Who asked for this, right? And that's, you know, that's kind of like it's a cool thing about third party, because you could get something completely unexpected like this. You know, official would never do anything like this because there's no context for them to do something like this, right? But woman Goku, who asked for this? I don't know, but it has over 1,600 likes, and my likes is in there. So I guess somebody would be interested in this. In fact, I'd just be interested in reviewing this just off the strength of, one, it's just something weird and different, and two, of course, saying that you had a female Goku action figure as a review, that's gonna get some views for sure. It'll catch people's attention at the very least. When is this actually gonna drop, or what have you? It said Wave 1 is in fine-tuning on the right schedule for release this fall. Now Wave 2, the Sound Blast Girl of Kong, pre-orders opens soon. I can't remember if the pre-orders actually went up and I missed it or whatnot, but you can check 5K Toys. Matter of fact, I'll have a link in the description if this actually went up for pre-order. And if I see Wave 1 still on 5K Toys, which I think was that Android 18 and Bulma Wave, if I'm not mistaken, I'll put that link in the description as well. But this is like really weird. It's mad weird. Once again, like, I'm sure many people thought, like, who asked for this? Nobody asked for it, really. Nobody that I know of asked for it. In fact, some people were like, what? Ew. You know, but it's just cool because it's unique to me, at least. On to the next thing. So as quickly as we got the reveal for these figures, we actually are seeing some in-hand prototypes. And it's looking pretty damn good. I wasn't even expecting to see prototypes this fast. Now, one thing I will say is, just based off of what we're seeing so far, there definitely could be some adjustments made to that the crotch part of the figure, where it's just like hanging. It doesn't need to hang that much, pause. But, you know, what are you going to do? Of course, this is still like the preliminary stages of the figure. So this, you know, we can't make a final judgment call just yet. But, you know, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, with the exception of the one thing that I listed. But, yeah, even that is not a huge deal per se. But on to the next thing. Up next, we got HOOM Studio, and here is the Super Saiyan 3 head sculpt that they got going on, and it's, of course, being promoted on the Beast Deities or Kong Studio body, and it's looking good, especially since this body is getting re-released by, as I mentioned earlier, Lionheart Studio, which is, in my mind, some type of subsection of anime mythos. But that's neither here nor there. This looks great. I think some of the faces could use some refinement in terms of the angularity. Is that even a word? The angularness of the face, but they technically could leave it as is and it'll be fine. But to take it to our next level, I think some refinement could be made. And that dragon effect, which is is an artist that did this effect, that this is based off of, a fan artist, not something from official. But this is dope. I really like that energy dragon effect. Not a whole lot to say about that. Once it is up for pre-order, you know, I'll let y'all know when and where y'all can get it. But on to the next thing.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Now, up next, what we have here. Something that I literally put this whole third-party roundup off of. I mean, I put it off making because I was waiting for this particular reveal. Now, it's been a couple days since it's been revealed, and you know I'm hyped. I'm definitely hyped. I know I'm not the only one hyped, because this is something that people have been waiting for, clamoring for, asking for, however you want to put it, for the absolute longest. We have KAMIONE right here, formerly known as Stonson, if you don't know. And man, now of course you can see that the forearms are interchangeable, because you know they're trying to cover his butt a little bit more, considering that, from what I hear, Gogeta is apparently very special to Bandai. Apparently, I keep on hearing that same thing over and over. Gogeta, that's why we haven't seen any third party touch them till now. Or touch Gogeta till now. And really, it's Taunton doing it, which Taunton has already done a character that people wasn't really daring to do in Kid Buu. Now, you know, the reception of that figure, you know, hasn't been the best. Actually, it wasn't very good at all, if I'm to not sugarcoat it. It was like decent at best. But a lot of people had some complaints about that figure. But when it comes to the Saiyan characters, you know, I'm gonna swipe through. We have the Fusion Reborn version right here, Dragon Ball Super version right here. Wait, did I mix it up? Pretty sure this is the Fusion Reborn version right here. This is the Dragon Ball Super version for Gogeta. There's some close-up pictures, and I have to say, like, I'm very hyped for this. This is, oh man, And for customizers, let's say you didn't even like Gogeta, just for customizing this upper torso is gonna go a long way. I'm sure the legs will go a long way as well, but especially that upper torso, that whole upper body. I said upper torso, the whole upper body, really. Yeah, front view sculpt I think looks great, and of course, as standard procedure now for KAMIONE, you have Roof doing the separate, kit for the base hair and the Super Saiyan hair. And truth be told, they didn't really need to include the base hair, but it's nice to have. We have it, right? So here it is. And of course, here's the Dragon Ball Super variant. Well, it's gonna come with the Super Saiyan blue hair and the base hair, and I'm sure. What is it? There'll be studios to do Gogeta head sculpts for this potentially. Maybe not a whole lot, cause since these head sculpts already look pretty good to great on their own, so it probably won't be a whole lot. But also, it's always an opportunity because people's taste and art style is different across the community. So that's what that is. Now, I forgot what my good man Divine told me what all of this said, and maybe I'll have it pop up on the screen. Maybe I won't. But either way, these are not the final products for the head sculpt. There's still some adjustments to be made in terms of the finish of the head sculpt. So even with that, these look pretty damn good so far. I can't wait to see what the final adjustments are. And of course, somebody did a mock-up of the KAMIONE renders. Oh, was this a mock-up or is this actually official? I'm thinking it was a mock-up. But could be wrong. Y'all can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But either way, the main idea is you get to see what the head sculpts look like. Sorry for that noise in the background. You get to see what the head sculpts look like, or you get to see what the figure looks like in its entirety for just to see what it looks like. And of course, the Super Saiyan variant. And oh wait, damn. Spoilers. I forgot I even had to cover that, so it was a good thing I made that mistake. But yeah, this looks really good. It's looking really good thus far. I definitely can't wait to get it in hand. I can't wait to compare it with the DF version, which I'm sure will be out fairly soon, because we even seen like a whole printed out prototype for that. So hopefully that comes soon as well. It'll be dope to compare the two. Yeah, definitely really looking forward to this. I can only say the same shit over and over so many times. Yeah, definitely. Once it goes up for pre-order, I'll put the links in the description of this video, as well as make a community post in the community tab of the channel. So be on the lookout for that. Now on to the next thing, which we kind of just looked at. So here's some more pictures of basically what the Gogetas look like in their entirety. Well, more specifically, what the Dragon Ball Super Gogeta looks like in its entirety. And looks good. Sorry for the lack of the clarity. Instagram, a lot of times when these pictures are sent, tends to degrade the quality. I don't know why that is, but it's pretty annoying. I'll try to sharpen it the best that I can, so it looks the best that it can be. But yeah, that's the windswept. All of this, like I said, not a whole lot more I could say without having the figure in hand. Looks great. On to the next thing. Alright, so what we have here is this printed out figure of Vegeta, which is sculpted very well in terms of the muscle definition, the details, the proportions and whatnot. Now, this is an articulation test, as you can see. Something I want to be very transparent on is that this is not going to be a mass-produced figure. This is going to be an STL file. Basically, if you have like a 3D printer, it'll give you the file so you could print the figure yourself, and whatnot. That's what this is going to be, but I still figure it's worth sharing, because there may be some people that come across it and be like, wait, hold up. If I can get access to the file and print it out myself, this could end up being your definitive, armored Vegeta look, at least until something else comes out. We'll see. But this looks like it can hold up, right? In terms of the the file, I don't know that it's free. I'm sure you're gonna have to pay something to get this, but I'll leave the link to the website, to Articulate Figures website, and you can see for yourself. With that being said, let's move forward. So now we finally make it to the Super Saiyan 4 Trunks head sculpts. Now I'm just showing this off because I figured this would be something that some people are interested in. This is just simply the head sculpts. You would have to kit bash the figure yourself, of course. I think these look really nice. You have this transparent version. Of course, you have one to suit the blue haired Trunks, transparent blue, and of course the opaque purple, right? The studio BGK, they did some Super Saiyan 4 Gohan head sculpts way back when, but I heard that they were kind of brittle and prone to breaking, and some of even fitting the faceplates on was a little iffy, I've heard. They may have improved since then. I've also heard that they redid those same Gohan Super Saiyan 4 head sculpts and those were improved. So I don't know. These are kind of like a wait and see type of product from what I'm hearing. But it's still pretty cool, to say the least. Now on to the next thing. Now last but certainly not least, we have Mercenary Tau. Now this is a hyper-realistic version. Will it really fit in with your SH Figure Arts? No, I don't think so. Because like I said, the styles are just completely different. Also, I feel like I covered this before, but I couldn't really remember, so I'm covering it again just in case. Now, there's one thing, I'm just going through the pictures real quick, that I know I haven't covered for sure, and that'll be, this is on toymetaverse.com, by the way. This will be, give me a second, right here, Cyborg Mercenary Tau. I definitely don't remember covering this in a video, so if you're interested in this, I'll put the links in the description. I think these are pretty cool additions. The only thing is just, it would be such a standalone piece compared to a lot of your Dragon Ball collection, but it's also something that's different, you know? I like different. Now, a lot of people might not be that invested in something like this, but like I said, it's different. It's different from what we usually get. That being said, this has been BombasticPlastic. Once again, thank you. If you missed it in my last video, for 8,000 subscribers, I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. I'm cooking something up for you guys, or in the beginning stages of cooking something up for you guys, as far as, you know, celebrating the 8,000 subscribers. And you know, I can't thank you enough. That's all I can say. I can't thank you enough. With that being said, have a blessed day. Peace.